Hi everybody, this will be the instructional video for our 20-foot Stockton and Ione or Nevada Central build flat car. Here's the parts, quick overview. So PDF bolsters, they may have a tab on them and look slightly different. We've got the bracing, siding, the deck. Again, there's a couple bolster options. There's our blocking and end beams. We're going to start with painting the underframe to ensure electrical insulation. And part 2 of that is when that paint's dry, we're going to clean the paint off the surfaces where we want glue to attach. It helps a little bit in the build. Alright, so painted up, you can see the silver areas where the paint's been cleared. Now we're going to look at gluing in the blocking and the bolsters. A couple small pieces of wood included in the kit. Be partially cut through. These are the blocks. They'll be either spruce or maple depending on the kit. And purpose of these is to give good purchase for screws or pins that are used to hold couplers and trucks on. Here I'm using a sewing needle and a pin vise to apply the glue, and we just want to make sure these are flush and try to show that. Remember, the shiny side is going to be the top side. We want these to be flush with the bottom. And then a little extra glue to harden the wood some more. Again, more screw purchase. Get ready. This version does not have a one-piece bolster. I try and make the one-piece T-shaped bolster standard, but a little piece of blocking under the MDF if it's that version, or again a strip wood version. This car has the most bolster options. Recognizing some may build it as a prototypical 3-foot gauge car. Some might use N-gauge trucks for HOn3, and some might even use this car for a 2-foot gauge car on Z-gauge track. Quick sand up to make sure everything's flush. Now onto the wood, laser cut wood parts. In this instance, I'm going to pre-stain all the wood parts. This is just thinned acrylic. I think we're just about a 50-50 mix of burnt umber or brown oxide and water. We just want a bit of a stain on these, that way no glue spots will show once we've got it glued up. Trying to ensure good stain coverage on both sides, especially the side stills. In this model, there will be the notch that'll capture the end beam. That's going to be on the inside. So this particular car might be kind of backwards as far as which side the laser cut into. Okay, now with the stain dry, we're going to start fitting up. The end beams go on centered. Now keep in mind these end beams are wider than the metal chassis, so test fit them with the side still. There are the notches that will capture the end beams and make for a good joint. There's a little arrow that was just pointed out there. That little laser engraved arrow goes on the inside and points down. Correction, points up towards the top when the car is inverted like this. So the arrow will point up on the finished car. A little bit of the CA glue and press that on. Again, I'm building on paper because if the glue catches the paper and the metal together, it'll just be more reinforcement. Alright, once the wood's together, I'm using a square aluminum tube as a straight edge to make sure everything's pressed up straight and the end beam is captured in the right spot. Needed to do a little bit of a trim to fit, just press down with the straight edge razor blade and knock off the extra length of the end beam there. Then once again, I like to put a little drop of extra glue inside of all these corners to help with the structural integrity of the car. Sand and deburr the 4 basswood stake pocket supports. These go on the ends of the car. There's a little notch in the underframe that they fit into between the stainless steel underframe and the basswood side still. On the prototype car, these supported the stake pockets for a bulkhead type configuration. And there's all 4 of the braces in place and glued up. Dab off any extra glue. Alright, now we're going to glue on the bolsters. This particular build uses the trapezoidal MDF bolsters. There's a bolster with a tab that'll accommodate, say, a Bachmann in-scale truck, or even just a simple bolster of 1/16 square basswood for this. But a lot of glue for the bonding surface between the bolster and that underframe. Now, different step before we get the deck on. Once those bolsters are glued in place, we're gonna start a hole for drilling using a nail or a punch or something. So we need a hole for each coupler mount and the end block in, and then a hole in each bolster for the truck mounting. And then again, using a drill press and an appropriate size micro drill bit, drill the holes. Without the deck in place, you don't have to worry about drilling all the way through, which is kind of handy. But then you can clean out your hole. Now, a couple variations on trucks. HOn3 truck just fit right on there, but if it was going to be used for HOn3, say a Bachmann truck, it needs a stud of some kind glued on. So This is just a section of polystyrene tube glued on there, and that'll serve as the bearing surface for that Bachmann truck with the big hole. So for removing the car body from the paper, you get some paper adhered to it. Just peel and sand it off. I recommend a light sanding with a fine sandpaper pad to remove the fuzz. The stain will help get rid of that, so we've got a smooth, non-fuzzy wood body. So adhering the deck, a good amount of glue on the metal surfaces. Can be more sparing on the wood so you don't get overflow. And then obviously the sheeting is scored side up. We'll use our needle glue applicator to make sure things are even. And the deck goes on. In this case, it's flush on either side. There's no board end overhangs. And now we're ready to apply the nut bolt washer details. The car kit has a mixture of large and small. Well, just a couple large on the end for the truss rods, then small, slightly smaller nut bolt washers for the cross tie rods that would be running through the car body. Now, careful, there is a large single hole on some of the versions, and that's for the stake pockets. The stake pocket design will be changing because these were originally available through Shapeways, and we need a different source, if not our own in-house product. And with the detail parts, I like to work slowly, a few at a time, using some very sharp forceps, dipping into a small puddle of adhesive, actually on a piece of masking tape. And just take your time and get them positioned. And now the nut bolt washers in the remaining holes. So there should be a couple over each bolster right there. So that's all the stake pockets applied. Now we'll cross tying rods nut bolt washers for the bolster tie rods. Side still. And then
and the other holes on
two on each end beam
on the
for
side
the
sill.
truss rod or tension rods that run through the car deck. They are all about the same size on this particular model. The last remaining detail for this car is the brake gear. Provided is simply a brake wheel and pawl for the B end. Whether or not there were brakes even on this car is up to the modeler. Most of mine have set up with a outside hung truck on the B end and then a truck without brake shoes on the A end. And I refrain from mounting the brake wheel till the final paint and weather is completed.